So get this, a small Baltic nation is about to spend nearly 5% of its entire economic output on defense. We're talking more than double the NATO target. For Latvia, this is a historic €2 billion bet on its own security. We're going to break down exactly why they're making this huge move and where all that money is headed.
To really get why this is happening so fast, you just need to read this one sentence from Latvia's defense minister. And you got to pay attention to the wording here. He's not saying we are preparing for war. He's saying we are already in a hybrid war. For Latvia, this isn't some far-off threat. It's the reality of the here and now, and it demands a really powerful answer.
All right, so first up, let's really set the stage here and look at the climate that's forcing such a historic decision.
That term, hybrid war, is absolutely key. It means the threat isn't just about tanks rolling across a border. No, it's this constant pressure cooker of disinformation, cyber attacks, and simmering political tension. For a country like Latvia, right on the front line of NATO, the government believes a traditional defense just doesn't cut it anymore. And this spending surge, well, this is their answer.
Okay, let's get into the core numbers behind this historic budget. And honestly, these figures are pretty mind-blowing. By 2026, Latvia is on track to spend almost 5% of its gross domestic product on defense. Now, to put that into perspective, that 2% NATO target that, a lot of member nations really struggle to meet, Latvia is planning to more than double it. This is a massive shift in national priorities.
So what does that percentage look like in actual cash? Well, here it is. For the first time in its history, Latvia's defense investment is going to cross the €2 billion mark. That is a monumental amount of capital being injected directly into the country's military.
And this timeline, wow, it really shows you just how fast this is all happening. Look back at 2022, they were hovering right around that 2% NATO mark, doing their part. To jump from there to nearly 5% in just 4 years, that is a breathtaking acceleration. We're watching a nation rearm at a pace that hasn't been seen in generations.
Okay, so that brings us to the big €2 billion question, right? What are they actually buying with all this money?
This chart breaks it down for us perfectly. The lion's share, more than half of the entire pie, is going straight into what they call capabilities. And personnel and infrastructure are getting a big boost too. But the number one priority is crystal clear: a massive upgrade in military hardware and combat power.
So let's zoom in on that huge 53% chunk, because that's really the core of this whole thing. It's all about putting more advanced and way more powerful tools into the hands of their soldiers.
A huge piece of the puzzle is upgrading their firepower on the ground. They're investing in modern infantry fighting vehicles, like this Ascod you see here during tests. This isn't just a small upgrade, it means way more protection and a much bigger punch for their mechanized infantry brigade.
But it's not just about close-up fights. It's also about being able to reach out and touch the enemy from a distance. They're seriously expanding their indirect fire capabilities with things like self-propelled artillery. This gives them the power to hit targets from way back, which is absolutely critical in modern warfare and key to building up combat-ready units.
And they're not sleeping on modern tech. A big chunk of this cash is going towards the whole shebang of unmanned systems. We're talking drones in the air, on the ground, even in the water, for both spying and fighting. And just as important, they're buying the anti-drone systems they need to counter threats.
But listen, all the best gear in the world doesn't mean much without the people to use it and the ground to defend. So the investment is also built around people in place. They're hitting the accelerator on plans to grow their professional army to 8,000 troops. And they're literally hardening their own territory, building a massive new training area for large-scale exercises with allies, and, this is huge, a physical counter-mobility barrier along their eastern border.
Okay, so when you pump this kind of money into defense, it doesn't just stay in a military silo. It sends ripples all across the board, affecting everything from the economy to foreign policy.
And this part is really interesting. They're actually using this as a massive boost for their own economy. The plan actually says that 30% of this funding has to stay in Latvia, spent with local companies. They're trying to build up their own robust defense industry with a really ambitious goal of having that sector make up 3% of the entire country's GDP by 2028. At the same time, Latvia has also put its commitment to Ukraine in black and white. This isn't just about sending a donation when they can. No, it's now official policy to provide at least 0.25% of their GDP in military support every single year. That means predictable, steady aid for the long haul.
And this isn't just talk. We can see it happening right now.
A perfect example? This $11 million, it was allocated for a NATO initiative to buy American-made weapons for Ukraine. That's how that 0.25% promise turns into real equipment on the battlefield.
And this is a really important point to wrap your head around. Latvia isn't just going on a shopping spree for itself. Every single piece of equipment they buy, every new skill they develop, is all being done in lockstep with NATO's bigger defense plans. So when Latvia gets stronger, the entire eastern edge of the alliance gets more secure. It's a win-win. So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, the hybrid war mindset, the absolutely historic level of spending, all the new gear, the alliance coordination, it's clear we're seeing a nation completely transform its defenses in response to a new world. And it kind of leaves you with this big, sobering question. As countries all across Europe start to rearm, is this the new price of peace?